Hello everyone and welcome to the Vortex, where lies and falsehoods are trapped and exposed. I'm Michael Voris. They often say in politics a president's legacy is not whatever legislation he signs into law, it's the justices he gets on the U.S. Supreme Court. Long after he has left office, the stamp he may have placed on the High Court will long survive him. Well, scoot across the Atlantic and land in Rome, where a similar happening is underway when it comes to Pope Francis naming cardinals. In what appeared to be a much longer stay last month in the hospital for Pope Francis, and what also looked like something much more serious, up to and including a heart attack, and may very well have taken place, talk began circulating about his potential death and dying, and then, of course, who would be the next pope. As it stands right now, there are 123 cardinal electors. That's 3 more than there usually are, meaning cardinals under 80. Only cardinals under 80 are allowed to go in and be eligible to vote in the conclave. Pope Francis created 81 of them, which is a hair away from 66%, 2/3, at 65.8. That's almost the lock that those cardinals would need. That's important because currently you need 2/3, 66% of the votes to win election by your fellow cardinals. That, of course, presumes if you are one of the 81 Francis cardinals that you'd vote for yourself. However, by the end of this year, 9 of these cardinals will turn 80, and therefore they will not be able to vote anymore. That shrinks the number of electors down from its current 123 to 114. That means the arithmetic will have changed as well. There will then be 114 cardinal electors, meaning Francis will have created more than 68% of them, more than 2/3. There he hits that magical eclipse number that he needs. Be that as it may, there's an actual talk in Rome these days about a possible consistory, meaning when more men are raised to cardinal. The Roman rumor mill says that may happen as well as before the end of the year, with at least 2 and likely more curial members becoming cardinals. That's really going to tip the odds in the favor of Pope Francis' successor. Depending on the number, and if that happens, that consistory, Francis will have cemented his hold on the College of Cardinals, approaching 3 out of every 4 who will elect the next pope. That virtually would guarantee, as much as things can be guaranteed like this in Rome, that the next man in white to emerge onto that loggia with white smoke belching out of the Sistine Chapel will be Pope Francis II. In short, with the stacking of the deck, so to speak, some expected curial reforms on the way, and some refining of the rules of the election of a pope, and Pope Francis does that, Francis's shadow may be cast over the church for quite some time to come. Of course, for some Catholics, that will be bad news, perhaps even greatly disturbing. But regardless of how one might feel about it, Pope Francis II is the most likely outcome once this Francis has gone to his judgment. But there's also much talk in Rome these days of the Weariness Factor, the Curia and others, fed up with all the intrigue and the drama and the bad PR surrounding this papacy. Even liberals can't stand it. Many, in fact, long for a return to more sedate times, whatever classifies as sedate in the church in the last 50 years or so. There's no doubt that the next pope would be able to bring more drama to the Vatican than this one has. Entire industries have arisen, in fact, in his wake, with commentators and internet types scoring big numbers of eyeballs by merely discussing anything about him. That said, a Francis fatigue seems to be setting in, and that is causing the sensationalists on the internet to come up with even more clickbait headlines, which of course perpetuates the whole cycle. More headlines, more fatigue. So more fatigue, ratchet up the headlines, and round we go. It's hard to believe that all of this will not be at least a factor, if not a heavy one, when the cardinals gather for the next conclave and start talking amongst themselves. Even among less orthodox cardinals, as well as Curia members, we hear that they are sick and tired of all of this, one drama after another after another. Another factor in the lead up to the next pope is this: the percentage of cardinals who are from Europe now stands, get this, at its lowest number ever, just 41%. And for the first time ever, they are exceeded by cardinals from the global south at 45%. The global south is comprised of parts of Asia, Africa, and Latin America. And it does seem appropriate when you consider that the largest numbers of Catholics are from there, hands down, than the first world industrialist nations, for example. This also means that the odds are better that they've ever been in a long while that the next pope may not be Caucasian, certainly Italian, or even European. But it's a safe bet that he will emerge from the crop of Francis cardinals, and what combination that may portend for the church, that's anyone's guess. It's no secret that many faithful Catholics would have no problem if, for example, Cardinal Robert Sarah were the next pope, but he turns 79 this June. It's not about color, but it's about orthodoxy. What do we know of this? The next conclave may be the most examined and speculated on in a very long time. God love you. I'm Michael Voris.